G'day Flow friends, we're here today to review the brand new Merida eOne-Sixty SL. It's the brand's first step into the lightweight eMTB category, and it's one of the more intriguing bikes I've had a look at recently. So let's dive into it and see how it rides out on the trail. This is the all-new Merida eOne-Sixty SL, and we're here in Girona in Spain to test this bike out on some pretty cool trails. But we've also had access to the team at Merida, including their engineers, to grill them about this new bike and really get stuck into the finer details of it. We asked the Merida team why they chose the 160 platform for their first SL e-bike. Merida's response was based around that they believe the 160 is the most versatile bike in their range. SL bikes aren't new by any means, and we typically see them equipped for trail riding with bikes that have 140 mils or 150 mils of travel, such as the Trek Fuel EXE. In contrast, the Merida 160 SL offers 160 mils of travel in the 29er configuration and a massive 174 millimeters of rear travel when set up as a mullet. The e160 chassis incorporates the Bosch SX motor. This delivers 55 Newton meters of torque and a peak power output of 600 watts. This is all powered by a 400 watt-hour battery, but there's also the option to run a 250 watt-hour extender. Keep in mind that this will add around 1.6 kilograms of weight to the overall system. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Bosch SX motor. Our lead tech editor, Will, has put together a comprehensive review dedicated to that motor system. If you'd like to check that out, I'll put the link in the description below. There you'll be able to learn all the in-depth details about the system. Okay, now let's take a look at the sizing and geometry. This bike comes in 5 sizes, and we were testing the size long, which equates to a large in most other brands. One thing you may notice is the geo across the 160 range changes. The human-powered bike, the SL, and the full-powered e-bike all have different geo. The main reason for this variation is that as the bikes get heavier, they get more stable. This means that a long reach isn't necessary for stability. By shortening the reach, you improve the agility of the heavier bikes, but you also have stability because there is more weight there. This is valuable information to keep in mind when buying, especially if you're used to choosing a bike based on reach measurements. When you ride a heavier e-bike, you may need to choose a reach length that is slightly shorter. Merida have accommodated for this in their sizing. All bikes in the 29er configuration come with 450mm rear center lengths. This worked well in the long size we tested, but I have some concerns that it might feel a little bit long for the extra small and the small sizes. Unfortunately, the team at Merida couldn't make the chainstays any shorter on the smaller sizes. This is due to the clearance issues with the Bosch SX motor. However, there is a way to make the rear end a little more lively and maneuverable. By running the bike in the mixed wheel setup, you get a more agile rear end with the smaller rear wheel, as well as reducing the rear center length to 447 millimeters. This also increases the rear travel to 174 millimeters, while the rest of the geo remains unchanged. While the flip chip maintains the geometry in both configurations, it doesn't preserve the same suspension kinematics. In both setups, the suspension performs well, but you'll need to adjust your settings for optimal performance. For example, I had to significantly increase the air pressure in the shock when riding in the mixed wheeled setup to get it dialed. This was an interesting bike to ride, as often the flip chip changes the bike a little bit, but overall it still feels like the same rig. However, in this case, you get 2 very different bikes. Okay, let's go through some of the key features on this bike. As expected with modern bikes, the frame offers plenty of protection, along with an accessory mount for carrying a tube and other spares. The frames will also include headset cable routing, a feature that often sparks discussion in the comments. However, I must say that Merida's approach is one of the better ones. With this system, you can use any bar and stem combination you prefer, and you're also able to place spacers above the stem, both of which aren't always possible with typical headset cable systems. Additionally, the Acros headset unit they've chosen has greatly improved with its sealing, which helps to extend the life of the bearings. Another standout feature on the 8000 model we tested is the RockShox Super Deluxe. It comes with the slightly larger, more linear air can. This is typically an aftermarket upgrade. It's cool to see this included coming stock, and it gives the lighter shock a performance feel that is closer to the burlier RockShox Vivid. On the GX Axis derailleur, they've also incorporated a power cable. You don't have to run the smaller Axis battery. Okay, now let's take a look at how this bike performs on the descents. This bike has 2 distinct personalities. When set up in the full 29er mode, it feels like an aggressive trail bike or a light enduro rig. In this configuration with 160 mils of rear travel front and rear, it excels at maintaining speed through straight, fast sections of trail, something typical of a full 29er in my experience. The 64-degree head angle is slack, but not extreme, especially considering some enduro bikes now feature head angles as slack as 62 degrees, that being on the extreme end of the scale. The relatively mild head angle contributes to the bike's balanced handling in the 29er setup. The larger rear wheel and 450mm chainstays give it a notably stable ride. It handles corners and rough terrain well, tracking the ground in these circumstances. But unweighting the rear wheel requires a deliberate effort. The bike's split personality comes into play when you switch to the mixed-wheeled configuration. This significantly increases the rear wheel travel to 174mm and shortens the chainstay to 447mm. The result is a bike that can smash through rough terrain while also feeling a little more agile in the rear. And although it's a lightweight e-bike, it's still heavier than a regular bike. So this added agility really enhances the ride. In the mixed wheel configuration, the added weight becomes less noticeable and it feels more like riding a regular enduro bike. This is where lightweight e-bikes truly shine. You're not sacrificing much on the descents compared to a traditional e-bike, but you're also getting some extra laps in with the bonus of a motor. So now looking at how this bike climbs and what does it actually mean to be riding on a lightweight motor? Obviously, it means you'll get less range out of the battery, so you need to be smarter with how you ride. There are 4 levels of assistance, and staying out of the top 2 can significantly extend your ride time. However, if you're looking for a quick 1-hour session after work, the turbo mode is surprisingly powerful for a lightweight motor. This will allow you to get some hot laps in if you're not concerned about the range of the battery. It's important to note that with the SX Bosch motor, it comes stock with the turbo mode in the middle setting. By that, I'm referring to the custom parameters you're able to adjust, and this is something you can easily change in the app. I'd recommend increasing the power settings. This will allow you to maximize the turbo mode when you need it. When you're not using the turbo mode and you want to extend the battery life, the display unit can be quite helpful. It includes a guide for optimal cadence and even suggests when to shift gears. This will help you make the most of the battery and the motor. I was able to climb comfortably over 1,000 meters using a mix of the lower assist modes and occasionally switching to turbo mode for steeper climbs. As always, the golden question is, who is this bike for? I believe the Merida eOne-Sixty SL is a great bike for someone looking for a single do-it-all bike. It can be ridden as a trail bike, but then thanks to the flip chip, it also transforms into something more suited for park riding or aggressive enduro trails. With 174 mils of rear travel, this is a significant increase and the configuration changes drastically. The lightweight motor makes it ideal for riders who are seeking an experience that is closer to traditional mountain biking. However, for heavier riders or those that want to maximize speed or are planning really long rides, a full-powered e-mountain bike would be a better choice. Overall, this Merida offers a well-rounded package, and I'm glad to see them stepping into the SL e-bike space with this impressive platform. We hope this review has been helpful and you've learned a little bit about the new Merida eOne-Sixty SL. For more information, head to flowmountainbike.com for the full review. There you'll be able to learn more about the bike as well as all the prices and build options coming into Australia. And until next time, we'll see you out on the trails.